Yes, our Father and Father of all men, look at this time, look again to thy children, whom in adopting thy Lord thou hast followed, whom thou hast gathered to be thine own brethren, called by thy name, on thy name we are calling. Thy charge we are, see the perils befallen. This house that shields neath the strength of thy wisdom, this child that seldom finds help in his falling. We are thy portion, we are thine own burden. Walk thou ahead, place our feet where hast trodden. Thine unheard and unnoticed come guiding, thy path of hiding where secrets lie hidden. For thou art unknown and wast thus in thy living, none but one will be saw in thy giving, and 'tis the obscure way that we too would follow, if small eyes had known deep his mind.
In many European countries and communist continents, this would have been a very important day, feasting work and exalting socialism, communism, and all that goes with it. It was an intuition given to Pope Pius XII in 1956 that Christianized it, giving this feast in honor of St. Joseph, specifically in his role as a model for those who work, and also therefore of those who provide, and he is honored often for that reason. One sometimes sees a statue of him with a basket. He's providing. Someone to be invoked actually on that level. Little parenthesis, at the beginning I placed the little hermitage under his mantle, and never ever have I wanted for anything. And normally on a Wednesday, which is his day, a Saturday is Our Lady's, I would sing a special song to him and light a candle to him which would burn all day. Right now it's not burning because I'm here, but it will when I go back. And he likes those little gentle, delicate touches and is not short in giving back. Remember that when you are in dire need. But I would like to zoom into his spirituality as a hidden soul and quiet worker. If one goes around the monastic world, one will often find a statue of St. Joseph, usually in the area where the old lay brothers, as they were then called, fratres conversi, those who weren't in choir as much as the fathers, where they would work. He was their patron saint par excellence because he gave the model. Now these lay brothers, which sometimes actually had in their hiddenness great surprises, e.g., people who were pistons of academic life, who'd had an experience of grace and opted for the completely hidden Trappist life, but opted for the lowest of the low, as it were, deliberately, at the service of all others, not wanting to be with the fathers, but choosing, despite all odds, to be hidden and buried in the simplicity of St. Joseph, who served the Holy Family. And often, and I heard this on the grapevine, among the ranks of the lay brothers, there will be great sanctity. Only God saw them. There'll be many surprises, I am sure, when it comes to the beyond. Many in this world who have had great success, in inverted commas, and had much limelight may barely get there, whereas rockets will come out of nowhere and overtake all. But St. Joseph is not known to have said anything important, because nothing is reported of his words. He was, and he said, by his being. And this being is what I would like, in a way, to utter to you this morning. The spirituality of work. It concerns us all. We have to work. I remember way back when I was in the 6th form, when in retreat at Ampleforth, talking to an elderly monk who was just saying calmly, in his posh English accent, "We have to work." And he was explaining, well, the brethren here, the kind of work that they can do is academic work. And so that is what they do. A monastery has to be self-sufficient. And for that reason, these monastic communities were great centres of civilization. In Ireland and Wales, what was wild, rugged land became fertile. They became experts in the woolen industry, for instance. But then, the black monks became those who transmitted not only Christian culture, but even pagan culture in the scriptoria of our cloisters, and educated hundreds and hundreds of little boys to education and sanctity, and therefore eternal life. But they did it, and this is what I would like to hand on to you, in the spirit of St. Joseph. If you go to Monte Cassino, you will see, as you're climbing the Holy Mount, big letters facing you, huge letters. 3 letters, 1 word, which sums up a world. Can you guess what it is? Pax. Peace. And the ethos of a monastery normally is pax. A certain gentillesse, an unhurriedness, a serenity and tranquility which is a cushion for grace and keeps the valves closed. Do we always have to have our mouth open? Question mark. How much interiority goes through that gap? A mode of living, of spending 12 out of 24 hours perhaps in risk and emission, exteriority and not interiority. Well, the monastic life, well lived, is the exact opposite. It's going inwards. And in that interiority, the work too is well done, without wastage, but in order. Why? Go back to Ampleforth. This huge bell would rule the world. I remember being very impressed there when still in school, finding how early they rose and the colossal din that made the bell, about 5:10 in the morning, as one monk said, rousing the heaviest sleeper. And then the whole day, calmly, while doing good work, calling back to base, back to base, back to base, and with reading at meals, and not more wastage of internal energy. And I remember when, quietly in retreat there, when it came time for the big offices, for instance, compline at night, the end of the quiet day, with even more quiet following, for 12 out of 24 hours, one's hood up, and not a word, in the summum silentium. You'd hear, starting way before it was heard in public, and boing, boing, boing. In other words, order, commanded by the voice of God, as it were sacramentally present in a chrismated huge bell, which kept things in control. Because that's where we've lost it. Watch people working. They're out of control. And modern life is geared to that. Much work now is in the cybersphere, where one doesn't notice time going, where useless things like prayer are far less important than getting the thing to work. And by the time one has got it to work, one has lost much energy and indeed grace and merit through the repeated, usually carefully chiseled and extremely powerful epithets that come out of the person who's lost control of himself and everything around him until it works. Swearing before a machine that won't work. Compare St. Joseph. Order and peace. Everything at the right time. And the optic being glorifying God. The result is not his problem. Success is not our own problem. Our problem is our intention. As Thérèse of Lisieux taught, what God values is the love with which an act is done, not the act itself. Remember that. Before ruining your day with anything which takes away the possibility of union with God in your work, like having a transistor on, with useless things on it, I mean, or talking to yourself and not to God, or simply not thinking about anything in particular. Comparing that with St. Joseph, who consecrated every moment of his working day to God and the salvation of souls. What might have been? Alone we are together in this place. Alone in our shared loneliness. Alone as though enclosed for air, each lonely face, 'neath pointed hood, not as of linen sewn, but walled of brick and boulder. Though unseen, the barring seal that fastens each recluse. Reclusion, I had thought of thy vast screen, and written for its nailing. But what use the closing in of all, except the door that opes all others? For Camaldolese must prattle, shrive, direct, crack every law of silence, to content who'd gape at these caged specimens.
while here, not e'en thou, frère X, shalt know, canst know, why is locked there.